You forgot your boarding pass.
Oh, shit. Wow. Who would have thought that action could be this boring? How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Did you see that action film that Michael Bay directed? Trick question, because apparently every film has action in it from Michael Bay. Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this. So as we all know, a third Bad Boys film is going to be coming out very shortly. We're talking January 13th. Yeah, and that's pretty soon. So I thought I might as well just watch the first two. I'm kind of regretting my decision, surprisingly. But let's get this over with, I guess. Bad Boys, directed by Michael Bay, starring Will Smith and Martin Lawrence and Tia Leoni. A bunch of other terrorists that you probably have never even seen before, so we're not going to even mention them. And a pissed off sergeant who was also Cypher in the Matrix film. Starting to see a pattern here. Now, since Bad Boys 1 didn't really have a subtitle, I thought I would include my own. Bad Boys, aka Michael Bay meeting the two new neighbor kids and not knowing which one is which, while occasionally watching CSI reruns and Hawaii Five-0. But before we start just tearing apart this train wreck, let's look at some of the good. Seeing Will Smith and Martin Lawrence on screen, you can tell that they are enjoying their time with this. Will Smith being the playboy billionaire that he tries to be, well, as Martin Lawrence puts it.
Rich kid playing cop.
And Martin Lawrence being a reclusive family man who gets squeamish at the sight of dead bodies. He's a cop. There are definitely a few comedic scenes in here. Ones that really play off the strengths of both Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. You know, Martin Lawrence being Martin Lawrence. When the action comes on, it comes on strong. Very strong. The ending alone is really the only reason to actually watch this. Guns going off, explosions, car chases, amazing to see on screen visually. But unfortunately, that's also a bad thing. Let's kick it into the bad. Boy. So you know how I said that there was some good in Martin Lawrence being Martin Lawrence? There's also a lot of bad when it comes to Martin Lawrence being Martin Lawrence. There are times where I was sitting there thinking to myself, can he just shut the fuck? He has the ability to make a comedic scene funny and then immediately make it not funny. Getting off of that, let's go through some of the other things. Two of the best cops that have ever been hired on Miami PD. That they're supposed to have been friends from school, and yet we see none of this. It didn't go anywhere. Speaking of which, scenes that were put into the film that didn't add anything to it. You got characters that just come out of nowhere. These are characters we're supposed to care about. That's what Michael Bay wants you to do. One of the characters gets killed off, and the entire film is supposed to be some sort of revenge plot, and yet that doesn't even come up until the end of the film. Adding into that, would they really let a cop like someone of Martin Lawrence's caliber into a crime scene if he wasn't good around bodies? Part of that is actually dealing with homicide. That's not really a good trait to have, and didn't make a lot of sense. Adding into that whole missing scene factor, the fact that I actually started bursting out laughing at one point because I thought it was just so unbelievably weird. Martin Lawrence and Will Smith just yapping at each other like they always do. Yeah, you know how I play. No, I don't know how I play. Martin Lawrence starts saying, oh yeah, because I'm a bad boy. They both just start singing it. Out of nowhere. No rhyme, no reason, just... This fucking review was killing me. Absolute boredom as I was going through this. Scene to scene was just an excuse to hear Will Smith and Martin Lawrence bicker. Now, if that's the case, I would have just watched a fucking episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You got pointless plot threads, overused cliches, weird scene choices that didn't make a lot of sense. Like having the captain in a basketball court while smoking a cigar. Did that not register? with you? While we're at it, why would Will Smith have pictures in his own house of just him? Wouldn't it be smarter and funnier to have pictures of Martin Lawrence there? I normally like to take pictures of myself. It went nowhere. It made no sense. This doesn't feel like Miami. There were so many times where I was looking at this and I was thinking to myself it was either Florida or Detroit. And the fact that it looks so glum. If they're supposed to be in Miami, shouldn't it be a bit more bright? I know they had a few cinematic shots of coming up over the beach and showing the actual city. But when you show the exact same shot 4 times, the only other thing I just want to iterate here. We know what a bad guy is. Hate to see what he does on screen to whoever or whatever is in his way. But you don't need to illustrate it like this. They showed this scene where one of the guys who was on a wheelchair is falling over because he got pushed over by the bad guy. He's bad. We get it. When the action comes on, it comes on strong, but there were only 2, I'm not even joking, 2 action scenes. Do not even call the scene where they are shooting up Tia Leoni a action scene. No. No. Few and far between. We're talking 3rd act, final act. 2. Where was the rest? Why did this movie have to be 2 hours? You could have literally cut it down to about 1 hour and 20 minutes, still having in that good finale. But unfortunately, good finale is not what makes a good film. It really hurt to watch. It wasn't good. I do love Will Smith, and there are times I do love Martin Lawrence as well. And considering the fact that it's Michael Bay, you'd expect to have action scene blowing up from bit to bit. The only thing that fizzled out, my interest. The only thing that blew up was my fucking brain cells while watching this. Characters that go nowhere. Underdeveloped storyline. Plot threads that lead to nothing. An action film with hardly any action, and extremely sloppy editing. The film titled Bad Boys, it's definitely one of those things. That's why this movie is bad. I do always like to end my review with a quote from the film. Alright, that's it. You're him. And you're him. But not in front of her. Okay, you be you, and he be you, and you be him. Got me a bit of a chuckle. You know it when you see it. But that being said, did you see it? Will you see it? And if so, let me know in the comments. I've been DeeJsee, and until then, always remember, did you see it? I really hope to God number 2 is good. I really hope to God number 2 is good. One can only hope.